After being drafted in the second round by the Broncos in 2012, Brock Osweiler didn't get much playing time until 2015. When Peyton Manning was down for an injury, Osweiler was 5-2 and was a big help for the Broncos to go 12-4. After that season, he signed a huge contract with the Texans, and I think you guys all know how that went. Brock Osweiler played his last snap in the NFL in 2018 and didn't even play out what would have been his entire contract. So that has us wondering, why did Brock Osweiler fail? So hi guys, I'm Jake, and we're going to see a lot of the things that led towards Brock Osweiler's failure. So as I told you, Brock Osweiler did fine for the Broncos. He went 5-2 as a starter. He was a huge help for them to have a lot of success. In 2015, Brock Osweiler had a 61.8% completion percentage, 1,967 passing yards, 10 touchdowns to only 6 interceptions. And this caused him to sign a gigantic contract. He signed a 4-year, $72 million contract with the Texans. And $37 million of that was guaranteed. So the Texans saw him as their franchise guy. They went after him and they got him. And in 2016, on the outside looking in, you'd say that this was successful so far. He helped the Texans win the division. They even won a playoff game against the Raiders. And yeah, I know Connor Cook was their quarterback, but still, winning a playoff game is not easy. But really, it was despite Brock Osweiler. Osweiler in 2016 had a 59% completion percentage, 2,957 yards, 15 touchdowns to 16 interceptions. And the stats were really bad, but on the field, he just wasn't very good, especially in film. He just didn't seem confident and couldn't make every throw that he was paid to do. Going into the 2017 season, Osweiler got traded to the Browns. And crazy enough, the second round pick the Texans sent to the Browns because they wanted to shed his salary, they needed to give up a high pick. That pick ended up turning into Nick Chubb. So who knew something like that would turn into an all-star running back? But anyway, he would end up moving on to Denver, where he went 0-4 as a starter. And then he would move on to the Dolphins and get adequate playing time. So now let's look back, why was this all just a complete failure? And I'll have 3 reasons why someone might have failed or something like that. But here the only reason why it just didn't work out was because Osweiler had so many high expectations and they were so unnecessary. Whenever you're a quarterback and you're a number 1 pick or even a first round pick, you're supposed to be that franchise guy. Whenever you flop, you just fail and all these high expectations you have just don't follow through. And Osweiler was a second round pick, but he was the guy to replace Peyton Manning to maybe become a starter whenever he retires. And obviously there's no guarantee there, but that's kind of the reasoning behind the Broncos picking him that high. And the contract that the Texans gave out should have never happened. Whenever you look at Brock Osweiler's tape with the Broncos, he wasn't this guy with the most cannon of an arm that can make every single throw that had all this mobility. He was a game manager. And that's nothing bad, Game managers are the type of quarterbacks that won't be the main reason why you win a game, but they also won't lose you a game. And Brock Osweiler in 2015 reminded me a lot of 2019 Mason Rudolph. They weren't going to carry your offense, but they did you well enough where they had a winning record and did solid on your team. And they also both were carried by a really good defense. And yeah, the Texans made the playoffs, and yeah, their defense pretty much carried them. But their defense, you just can't compare them to the 2015 Broncos defense. And Brock Osweiler did so well with the Broncos, and he didn't do well with the Texans, but you still know what I mean. And the Texans paid Brock Osweiler to be their franchise quarterback, and they shouldn't have done that. I don't know what the market for him is. I don't know if other teams were willing to give him a lot like that. But if the Texans could have avoided that, they really should have. And I'm not saying the type of quarterback that Brock Osweiler is a bad thing. Game managers can win all the time. I look at Earl Morrall for the Dolphins in 1972. He was their quarterback to take them to the Super Bowl, but they really relied on a strong run game and a great defense. He wasn't really the main factor in them winning, but he also didn't hurt them at all either. And Brock Osweiler he just should have never gotten that contract. It just did not make any sense. So I hate to say that Brock Osweiler did something bad or anything. It was just the type of quarterback he was. And out of college, he wasn't predicted to be this way. He was 6'7", 240 pounds. But obviously, looks can be deceiving. Who would have thought that Russell Wilson would have been amazing and Kyler Murray would have been a number 1 pick 10 years ago? Usually I'll go into depth of why someone like Sam Darnold just didn't succeed. And that's because, he had all the tools to be great. He was a first round pick, and some of the stuff he did just didn't make sense. But for Brock Osweiler, he basically played to expectations. Second round picks are the type of picks that have a chance to become starters, but most likely they won't be. And Osweiler pretty much had the career of what a second round quarterback usually has. And really just the biggest thing to take out of this is that he just had way too high of expectations. Just imagine if Mason Rudolph put up the same numbers like he did, played on that Broncos team, and would have gotten that contract. I guarantee you that wouldn't have worked out. And I feel teams learn their lesson because Rudolph is obviously not going to make that much money whenever he becomes a free agent next year. But honestly, congratulations to Brock Osweiler. He did enough in his short stint with the Broncos to earn him a lifetime amount of money. Not everyone can say that they did that, so I mean, congratulations to him. But I feel so bad for Texans fans. And yeah, that eventually was able to get them Deshaun Watson. But obviously we know how that's going to work out with the allegations, the trade rumors. He's not going to be there for much longer. And it seems like the Texans have to restart all over again. So yeah, I know this isn't the most crazy video. There's nothing that he did that was just insane that he could have fixed. It's just the type of quarterback he was just didn't match with the type of contract he ended up getting. That's really all. If everyone had realistic expectations for Brock Osweiler, I wouldn't be making this video. He wouldn't have gotten that contract. But he did, and it's just a topic to go over. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all 106 of you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. As of this recording, the rookie, Yerman Mercedes, has been on a tear for the White Sox. So far, Mercedes leads all of the MLB with 15 hits, a .556 batting average, and a .312 OPS. He also has 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, and a .1460 OPS. Even though the 28-year-old rookie only played 6 games so far, it's crazy how he's started, especially since hardly anyone has ever heard of him. So who is Yerman Mercedes?